a designer. Since I was 13 years old, I started sewing during my spare time. I always loved it, but I never had the opportunity to actually go and study it. And at the age of 28, I decided that it was time for me to follow my dream.
And why did you choose this career above all other careers? Because you mentioned that you only started it now after 20 years, so obviously you did other things. So what made you truly go for fashion above all others?
Well, I was a little tired of my job, but mostly I need to create, and I love dresses. So going to fashion was the thing that was allowing me to put this together.
And where did you get most of your inspirations from for all your pieces?
I tried to put a little bit of a psychological turn in my design. The dress there is from a collection that I was inspired by Maslow's theory of needs, and the other one is the first dress of my next collection that is inspired by stages of grief. So that's the shock, and that's when we only have the physical moves that are fulfilled.
And how long did it take you to make this collection, all the pieces?
A couple of hundreds of hours. Just for that dress, it was about 70 hours because it's all pieces that I sew and cut. And for that one, it was even longer because it was cut then sewed. So it was about 80 hours of work for doing that one.
And as a recent, design student, graduate, what is your number one advice for anyone that is seeking a career within fashion?
My number one advice would be to not be insecure of trying stuff, to manipulate the skill and taking risks. You might end up with something that doesn't look like you want to, but you're going to learn a lot from this. And best case scenario, you're just going to end up with a dress that you love.
Awesome, thank you so much, Michelle. I also wanted to, yesterday our designer, Inez, who is the owner of Imina Faye, her collection was absolutely amazing as well. I mean, both these designers are absolutely talented. I wanted to give her the chance to also show one of her pieces from yesterday, and I'll just give her the chance to kind of explain her journey and her collection as well.
Hi, thank you. So I just want to talk about my piece a little bit. The fur here actually is something that I've repurposed. As a designer, you're constantly using different materials. So I like experimenting with different materials, and I definitely like repurposing materials that maybe they can't be worn right away, or they can't be worn anymore, but they can be reused in other pieces. And with this dress specifically, I really like experimenting with different patterns. And with this one, I have a couple different details in it. A lot of the details of this dress, like Michelle was saying, they are experimental. You might not have planned to do it specifically that way, but then it just turned out to be okay and you kept it. So yeah, that's my piece.
All right, thank you so much, models. I don't want to tire you guys out, so you guys can definitely step out, and then we'll continue with the panel. Thank you so much. And just before we continue with the panel, I wanted to ask some very special ladies who are hiding in the back. They know who they are, and I'd like them to come up here, please, because as some of you know, ticket procedures for this show are going towards a very special organization that's very dear to my heart called Hijinks. And basically, Hijinks is essentially a thrift store where they receive donations for those who are less fortunate, and it's run by two amazing women who have been my support and good friends since I started my business. They are located on Penn Street, and every day they open up their doors for those who are less fortunate around the downtown core, and they feed them breakfast, lunch, dinner. They have Christmas dinners, Thanksgiving dinners, and I just wanted them to please get up. Would y'all get up, please? So, if you're wondering where some of the ticket procedures are going towards, it's towards these lovely ladies who do an amazing job in the community. They are amazing friends, not just to me, but to everybody that comes into their store. And Yeah, so please make sure to stop by. If you have anything that you don't use anymore at home, any donations you want to give, please make sure to donate it to Hijinks. Thank you. So now another very important aspect to the show, as some of you may or may not know, besides Canadian Fashion Weekend, the Exclusives also have a very important project which we believe is extremely important movement for the entire Canadian fashion industry, known as #Revamp Canadian Fashion. Fashion shows are fun, yes, but there comes a time where we need to educate ourselves and become more aware about the logistics that revolve around our industry. The Canadian fashion industry is under a lot of turmoil. This past summer, in July 2016, Canada's fashion capital city, known as Toronto, has recently lost its fashion week. Back in summer 2014, Ottawa also lost its fashion week, and back in 2013, Montreal lost its fashion week. Fashion Week was an open door for many up-and-coming designers like Inez and Michelle, and it was their key to the industry, and it was how a lot of them got that open door. So what is there left now for Canadian designers, since that main key of opportunity for them is now gone? So for this campaign, we've been very fortunate to partner up with the Huffington Post and spread awareness through that platform. But we would like to have another platform that is more verbal and more communicative and engaging with the audience. We are very fortunate as well to have a very quick panel here with our designer, Michelle, as I said, Veronica, who has been in the industry for many years. She's a teacher at Richard Robinson Fashion School here in Ottawa. We have Megan as well, who is the Director of Communications for the Exclusives, but is also a fashion writer. And of course, we have Inez, the designer, as I mentioned earlier. Also, we were very fortunate because we recently were able to meet Sophie Trudeau, and we will be presenting to her this plan that we have to start up a National Fashion Council. And we will start a protest where we would, a petition to receive names so they see that enough people care about this industry. So if you are in this industry and it's something you're passionate about, or you have any loved ones that are part of this industry, please keep them in mind. And so we'll start the discussion, but I'm gonna have Megan open up the floor as she will explain exactly what a fashion council is and the benefits of having a fashion council.
Thank you. So if you were with us yesterday, excuse my repetition, but I'm going to go over this quickly again. So Fashion Council exists in many countries around the world, the US, Britain, France, places like that. They have fashion councils that kind of oversee their fashion industry. So they deal with the fashion weeks, they deal with grants, scholarships, students, designers. They oversee that, they provide funding for that, so that the fashion industry can thrive beneath them and can look to the Fashion Council for support.
All right, so I will start with the next question. So what are some of the challenges that Canadian fashion designers, bloggers, innovators, enthusiasts face? Like, what's their main challenge? So any of you can obviously take on the floor, so I'll probably give it to Veronica. Veronica has a lot to say.
Hi. Okay, what are the challenges in the fashion industry? I would say it's not for a lack of talent. I've been privileged to be teaching at Richard Robinson, which is the only open to fashion school in, I believe, Canada, and the only fashion school in Ottawa. So events like this is fantastic for our designers to get out there and have a little bit of recognition. If anything, I mean, with today's society, I feel like everything is very much on the internet, everything's at the fingertip, everybody wants something now. So in terms of being a designer, I feel like it's the time to be successful. You don't necessarily have to rely on others. I don't know. However, the funding, there's a lot of competition in the industry, so you always have to find the next way to stand out. And it's not always easy because exactly there aren't very many avenues when it comes to to Ottawa in general, because everyone is looking for Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver. So we definitely need to be more on the map, I guess. So events like this definitely, I think, help.
We're just gonna take questions at the end if that's okay with you guys. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
once this is out,
We'll open it up to questions just after we're finished. I was just gonna say that experience-wise, I think as a student, as someone wanting to go into fashion publishing and wanting to enter this industry, it's very tough to find those experiences to get involved and to get experience in this industry. This is one of the few opportunities I have every year to be able to help out and to learn. And I think that it's hard for a lot of people my age who are aspiring to be here, to get here in the first place, because everyone needs experience to start, so.
I would agree, like the biggest challenge is definitely the funding. We're a lot of the times brand new graduates, we're paying off our school and we're also investing in ourselves. So definitely having different platforms where we could get funding or get some sort of investment. And in regards to being to the challenges of competition, a lot of us are doing our own research. We're reaching out to boutiques, reaching out to stylists. That takes time. There's a lot of people all over Canada, but it's hard to find them because everybody's all over the place. Everybody's doing their own thing. And just being able to go into a boutique, you don't necessarily want to share, invite another designer to be in the boutique with you because it's so hard to get into certain places that you don't necessarily want to share whatever you're finding.
And so the next question is, what could be the real reason as to why Canada and Canadians don't like to support Canadian fashion or just anything Canadian? Because as you mentioned, people rather go to Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, but it seems like all those places are under turmoil as well. Everywhere, like when I go to Toronto, people complain about the same thing. When I go to Montreal, people complain about the same thing. And most of the times you see Canadians, they rather buy something from the States or from Europe. And so what could be that real reason as to why